Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. So today we're going to be talking about how to avoid giving up those bloop hits that you see all the time and how to pitch with this new hitting engine. This month you should be seeing a lot of tips videos from me, and then after that we're going to get into some new content that we haven't done before on the channel. But if you'd like more of my content, we do stream every day on Twitch at 7 p.m. Central Time. And feel free to recommend any videos that you'd like to see that I can create for you. So let's get into it. One of the major flaws in the show to start the year has been the lack of skill gap created by the frequency of line drives that turn into outs versus the number of jam shots that turn into base hits, rallies, and runs. Hopefully we can look back at this video in a couple of months and see this as something in the past, but in the meantime this is something we definitely have to try and overcome. The good news is, there is a way to reduce how many bloop hits you give up. Of course you will still see them occasionally, but this video should help you from losing games to people who seemingly only beat you because of bloop hits. So last year, one pitch that I really abused was the low and in fastball, and even more so the sinker. And this year, especially on All-Star, that has become the main pitch that people will flick the analog to and get some nice soft contact over the infielders for a base hit, even when the pitch is a decent amount off the plate, especially low. The pitch is so low that the weak contact won't allow it to float to the outfielder for a pop-out, but the PCI placement allows for enough barrel to push it past the infield. So the first thing that I did when I realized this was happening was I got rid of my sinker ball starting pitchers, or at least feature their straight fastballs a lot more. I know a lot of people who like to use the sinkers up and in under the hitter's hands, but it seems that on All-Star the sinker doesn't move much laterally anymore, so it's probably less effective, and you might be better off with a two-seam fastball. Now these fastballs can definitely still be blooped, but by putting them in and off the plate, it's been pretty effective for me, and the weak contact usually results in a pop out rather than a bloop hit, and of course it's a great setup pitch in a lot of ways as well. Obviously you can't spam that pitch because if you do miss, a lot of people will hit it very hard, so there's one more principle that I want to talk about on the pitching side. But in general, if you're avoiding that low and in pitch with the sinkers, you're going to reduce your bloopers by a ton. And now since low and in isn't a reliable pitch, the question is, what is? Is it the low and in breaking ball? Turns out, no. I've noticed breaking balls on the inside half, whether they're high or low, even low below the zone, they really get turned on for hard contact. But breaking balls on the outside half, especially if you get someone looking inside early in the at-bat, get soft contact almost all the time. You see a lot of people roll over on ground balls and sometimes pop out to the infield. With pitch speeds being higher, it's very tough to cover both sides of the plate, and when you're below 700 and ranked, 80% of people are trying to turn and burn on every pitch. So from me, to boil everything down into one piece of advice, I would say first make sure you get your opponent looking inside, and it doesn't have to be every batter, but you want them to look inside and then get them outside. If at any point I think the batter is swinging at the next pitch, like facing free swingers who think every pitch is an 0-2 count, I always make sure to throw something soft outside. Hard inside and soft outside is kind of the general rule of thumb for baseball in real life anyway, and you hear announcers and commentators talking about it, and it seems to hold true here in this game as well. The two main things to avoid are throwing so much outside that they just take an opposite field approach and hit liners in that direction, and of course spamming breaking balls this year will cause them to hang, so you just want to make sure you mix it up. But again, if I am trying to get somebody out, if I think they're about to make contact with a pitch, I make sure I'm throwing it pretty much low and away with off speed. So guys, when I started this season, I was playing really poorly, losing every other game even against people that I thought I shouldn't be losing to, and the bloopers were a big reason for that. And as soon as I figured this out, I think my rating shot up by about 400 points. Now I'm sitting around 800 and trying to change up some things in my hitting. And you may look at my ERA and say, wow, that's still not great. And I'll give you a few more reasons why. So I was using meter pitching early in the year because I'm really bad with analog inputs, and my physical skills with pitching are average to below average. I only started using pure analog at the end of last year, so I'm really still getting used to it and not comfortable with it at all. But in the end, pure analog is still a better input than meter, and I think that kind of proved it to me by using it so much at the beginning of the year. But again, you may look at my ERA and you see that it's still kind of high because I did stop losing games on bloopers, but I still have inconsistencies because of my pitching ability, and occasionally I do get lit up. But at least now when I do lose games, it's because I'm getting beat, and it's not because someone's getting lucky against me, the way that they were with the bloop hits. So that's a little thing that I wanted to add at the end of this video because I think that anyone can practice their way to being average, in terms of physical input skill when you're talking about pitching. Just practicing as much as you can, you'll get to a certain level with your analog inputs. And whether you are a special talent or not when it comes to video games, the difference is going to be if you know how the game is working at a given time, it can give you a significant boost to your results. So this is what I'm trying to give to you guys. The information that if you're throwing low and in with fastball sinkers, you're going to get blooped to death. So at least if you can avoid that, maybe you have some other things to work on in your pitching, but at the very least you can start to progress in a certain direction. And like I said, I'm getting pretty high up there with the ratings. I'm nothing special when it comes to the physical skills when it comes to this game, but I do try to learn it as much as possible. And I think if you implement these tips, it's going to take you a long way. So hopefully this video is helpful to you. If it does work for you, let me know. And again, this isn't the be all end all. You will still lose games. You may still get lit up at times, but at the very least, if you're trying to progress your game and get better at the game, there will be so many more games where you're feeling more confident as compared to before. Again, I've got a lot of videos planned for you guys very soon. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment if you need any clarifications, or if you have a suggestion for another video. Hope it helped, and I'll see you guys soon.